Like, we won the game, but I still want this man out. Like, the more we play, the more I understand why the fans don't want him as our manager anymore, and the more I become more inclined What's going on, people? Welcome back to League M for the match review. Chelsea 3, Leeds United 2, and I'm just going to go ahead, call a spade a spade. That was a horrible performance. Like, we won the game, but we were passengers. Like, we won with moments. There was quality, yes, but there was no assertion of dominance in the game. There was no control of the game. Essentially played second best to a championship side, of which I know I said that these guys are too good for the championship and we should in turn treat them like they are a Premier League side, but I did not mean that now we must give them all the respect. I just meant that we should not underestimate them, and when we have the chance, we should make quick work of them. I think for the neutral, the game was entertaining. It was good to see that Leeds were actually up for this game. They were more up for it than we were, and you could see it in some of the players as well. We were very lethargic. I don't know if that is just fatigue from Sunday. You know, some of the players were shaky, especially in defense. Alfie Gilchrist was not comfortable in that left back position, of which that's understandable. That is not his favorite position. I don't know why Pochettino didn't just opt for playing a left back from the academy there, because Alfie Gilchrist does not even start at left back for the Chelsea under-21s. So why start him now for the first team? You know, I think the more we play, the more I understand why a certain portion of the fan base wants him out, because I think the managerial performance today, that is also under the spotlight, and that is also something that should be assessed, and it was not the best game for him and for us. Some of the decisions that he took, the in-game management as well, taking that into account, the fact that we allowed Leeds to dominate the game like that and not just dominate the game ourselves. It's inexcusable. It really is. But let's go through the game. It really didn't take us that long to concede. It was just a simple case of playing out the back gone wrong, of which I don't understand why in that moment. You see how high up the Leeds players were. They were waiting for us. They wanted us to play out, and we actually played into their hands. You know, players are not releasing the ball in time enough. DCC actually took his time on the ball, and that is actually where the mistake came from. We ended up conceding the first goal of the game, which I expected, to Leeds' Mateo Joseph, which I must say was a very well taken goal. But it didn't take us that long to get ourselves back into the game either. We equalized very quickly through a wonderful team goal, finished off by Jackson. Caicedo with the assist. That was actually a great goal, and it's good to see Jackson back among the goals again. And after that goal, we were starting to see more of the ball and try to work some chances against Leeds, trying to break them down. And we eventually got the second goal. Another beautifully worked goal, finished off by Mikhailo Mudryk. I just want to talk about Mudryk for a second and say that that was actually one of his best performances in a Chelsea shirt, playing in that 10 role. I actually didn't think he had that in the locker. But he was actually our best player. He played with such a great understanding of the position, picking out the passes, linking up the play, and his movement as well in terms of attacking the box for that goal was exceptional. And I think that is something that we need to explore further, because he was just so good. Granted, it was against the championship side, who pretty much, their style of play sort of plays into our hands. The first half wasn't a particularly good performance because of the shakiness at the back and losing the ball in areas that we're not supposed to be losing it. We actually made the most of the moments that we had. That was something that I thought we could carry over to the second half, but we didn't do that. The second half, we actually allowed Leeds to have more time on the ball, and as they had more time on the ball, they were actually growing in belief. And when you start to grow in belief, you actually start to think, okay, maybe now we can do something against them. We should just, try to get the ball in the box more, or try to isolate players, go 1v1 with them, try to beat them. And we're starting to lose control of the game. And in losing control of the game, all it took was just a moment to switch off defensively for us to concede a second goal to Leeds, finished off by the same player again, this time from a header. No one was really tracking him. It was just a horrible display defensively. That was a horrible goal to concede. And after that goal, we sort of just made it very comfortable for them. We were sitting back against a championship side at the end of the day, and we essentially just allowed them to get on top of us, and we could have realistically lost this game if it wasn't for another moment that we had. Keep in mind, the second half, there was not much of that, because we were pretty much sitting back, which is shocking to me, because if we actually tried to contest the game, there would have been a much better chance of getting something out of it sooner rather than later. And the substitutions did not really have that desired impact, because when they came on, it was still pretty much the same. We did not get on the front foot at all. Palmer was pretty much quiet, didn't have a say in that game. Chilwell as well, it was pretty much the same. All it took for us to win that game was another moment. Gallagher with the goal was very well taken, and that is what won us the game. But the performance overall was nothing to write home about. For most of the players, the work rate was not there. I think Bag, Gusto, Caicedo, and Mudryk, the players that started, were not really on game. Excel Disasi actually grew into the game after he made that mistake. Trevor Chalobah didn't have his best game either. That whole back four, was pretty much incohesive, don't really work well together, and it shows. Robert Sanchez as well, coming back, not his best game. It was very much a poor performance overall, and now looking forward in the game against Brentford, we know what we can expect, and if we're going to put in the same performance that we did last night against Brentford, then we're going to have problems. After Brentford, we're going to be facing some very tough opponents, and we're going to have that kind of run again, and we cannot afford to put in the same performance that we put in last night. I think I'll end it there. I'd very much like to hear your thoughts on the game, and who was your standout player, who was your man of the match, and what do you make of the team performance last night. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe if you're new. Thank you for watching. I will see you on the next one. Keep it M.